following program on Ada Derana 24 is classified for general audience. It is intended for all ages. It contains little or no violence, no strong language, and little or no sexual dialogue or situations.
Good evening, and you're watching Business Best, and this is a platform where we showcase the best in the business, and we will be introducing to you to people who have excelled in their particular field in order to showcase their latest developments in their respective industries. Now today on the program we'll be discussing on a business that is for the fitness freaks out there who wants to keep their endurance right. And to describe more about this, I would like you to be introduced to Mithun Liyanage, who is the co-founder of Endurance Labs. Thank you, Mithun, for taking the time to join me on the show today. All right, so when we talk about Endurance Lab, there are so many ways where people can keep fit. They can do some sort of sport, they can work out at home, they can go to the gym. So what is Endurance Labs?
So Endurance Lab is a platform that we want to bring up. It was developed by my friend Dennis. He's a French expat who used to live here. So it was our idea to come up with this project where we facilitate and develop a platform for anyone who wants to do a endurance sport to be able to train properly. So to give a background about myself, I have been an athlete before, and I used to take part in these Ironman triathlons back then, and we used to make a lot of mistakes, and we used to get injured, and we were not sure of what exactly we were doing, and there was not much help to get here in Sri Lanka. So after some time we just figured out that there's a requirement. It's our passion. We are passionate athletes still, so we just wanted to create that whole environment and community to be able to take part in these events and to train properly and not make the same mistakes that we made. So yeah, that's why we came up with the whole Endurance Lab.
So would you say that people would want to join with you all, particularly to take part in this sort of triathlons?
Well, yes and no. What we want to do is to make it accessible to a lot of athletes, because a lot of people think that triathlon is an expensive sport, because this is not just one, right? You have to do swimming, you have to do cycling, you have to do running, and also then you have to do your strength like gym workouts, or you need to combine all that. So if you were to do it alone, it might be a little costly. So we wanted to make sure that this platform is available, which is not too expensive for people to get into, and it's a beautiful sport, and we want everyone to enjoy it while they train. So that's so we open it up to anyone and everyone who wants to even swim only, or only cycle, or only run, and then slowly they think, okay, you know what, I have got the running part sorted out, let me try out the cycling also, and then slowly they add everything up, and then hopefully they become triathletes down the line. But I mean, just a normal runner or a cyclist or a swimmer is also fine with us. So we encourage any kind of endurance athlete.
All right. Yeah. So does it always have to be an athlete to come join with you all?
No. We have. So our client base ranges from kids to adults who are over the age of 60, who come, and it doesn't matter whether you are an athlete or not. If you are enjoying, if you want to improve on a particular segment, like if you want to improve on your running or swimming or whatever, it doesn't have to be that you have to be an athlete. You can just come and take part. And then
all right. Something interesting is about the cycling part. You need to have bicycles and you need to have the area to cycle too, but you all have an indoor cycling area, which is quite interesting to me. So how did that come into play?
So what we do is we have these machines that are connected to a computer, and it gives you the data while you're riding indoors, but it kind of mimics the outdoors as well. But the good thing about this is that, especially in Sri Lanka, we don't have to worry about the tuk-tuks, the buses, the potholes. We don't have to worry about it because it's safe indoors at any time of the day. You don't have to wake up super early in the morning to get your bike session done. And then you don't have to worry about the monsoon rains. You don't have to worry about the sun. All that is sorted out, right? So that kind of takes away a lot of the issues most cyclists have, right? So having said that, we still enjoy the outdoors, but we use this training method to actually improve on our outdoor riding. So this is just to complement the outdoor riding.
All right.
So it's like if you see how it is done, it has a nice virtual reality screen. So you see yourself cycling while you are cycling inside a little different part of the world. So you can
nice.
cycle in London or Paris or whatever, but you're actually cycling indoors.
Okay. So is there a particular age group that you provide the training for?
No, we don't. We have kids, like I said before, we have kids to adults. We have no restriction. We welcome everyone.
So how do you provide your private session? Is it like a group class or do you provide
It depends on what kind of training you want. So in triathlon, you have different distances. So you have the sprint distance, the Olympic distance, the Ironman distances, the full Ironman distance. So it varies from person to person. So let's say you want to do a particular distance, you come and tell me, okay, this is the one that I want to do, and then I will tailor make the workouts for that particular athlete. And also depends on what kind of commitments they have. If you are if you're working full time, then your time restriction is high, so you need to balance things off. But if you're a student just out of school, you have a lot more time. Then their training times are different, so we try to balance it out.
All right. Mithun, tell me a little bit more about the properties and the assets you all have and the facilities you all have to cater to each and everybody's needs. So when we talk about cycling, you said that you all have an indoor cycling arena. So when considering swimming, do you all have a swimming pool for yourselves and the running? How does that work?
So I work with my business partner who's coaching at Royal College. So his pool is available for us for our swimming practices. And running, we are based at NCC, just a hop, step and a jump away from Independence Square or Vihara Mahadevi. So the running area is also available. So what we do is we work remotely and we get connected through our devices. So most of them have smartwatches where they send me the data at the end of the day, and then I analyze it and I tell them, okay, maybe you should have done this differently. You could have pushed a little bit more or take it easy. And also gives us the data about, if you should be recovering today and not push yourself today. So all that data is given, right? So in terms of inside our studio, what we have plenty of bicycles. If you want to come and just use a bicycle, you don't have to bring your own bike. You can bring it, but in case if you can't, we can always provide you with a bicycle. If it's raining, we have our treadmills, you can run indoors. And the thing is, because we are endurance athletes, we don't need heavy machinery when it comes, we don't need a fully fledged gym. We don't need that much machines. So we have enough weights, enough machinery to suit an endurance athlete, right? So we have that also indoors. So you can come any time of the day. You just have to book your slot and then come and use it. So
all right, perfect. So since you're in this business, how can you describe the engagement of people for this type of sport? Now, there are so many other people who wants to do a sport specifically, let's say basketball or cricket or whatever, and some people would just prefer going to the gym. So the engagement of something like this, such as endurance, how can you describe the demand for this?
Okay, so we have been having a couple of hiccups thanks to COVID and whatnot the last couple of years, right? We had an Ironman in Sri Lanka, 2 Ironmans in Sri Lanka back in 2017 and 2018. and we had a massive requirement for the sport in the island. Right after that, we had the Easter bombings and COVID and all that, and there was a massive drop, mainly because the events in Sri Lanka were stopped, plus it got expensive to travel, and the dollar rate went up. Everything was all over the place. But having said that, just last month I traveled to Vietnam with a bunch of triathletes from Sri Lanka. We had close to 35 athletes who flew out of Sri Lanka just to take part in an event in Vietnam, right? So there is a requirement. There is a significant need for a platform for people to train and go and take part in these races and do it and enjoy it. I mean, it would have been better if we had local races as well, but we are in the process of trying to organize these events just to make sure that you don't have to go abroad to take part in these races. You can actually take part in these races in Sri Lanka as well.
Okay, so my next question for you is about how people can engage themselves with Endurance Labs and how they can enroll themselves with the triathlons which are taking part overseas as well. Yeah. But before that, we have to go into a short commercial break. We'll be back soon. You're watching Business Best. Welcome back to Business Best, and we were in discussion with Mithun Liyanage, the co-founder of Endurance Labs. So Mithun, you described a little bit about Endurance Labs and how you're providing the training sessions as well, and we left off when we were discussing about the triathlons. So how do people take part in these triathlons if, let's say, I'm interested in taking part? So do we go through you? Or do you all provide that platform for us to engage with the international events? How does that work?
So it's up to you, right? So if you can, what we generally do is there are events around the world. You go through the calendar and you pick the race that suits you best. Say that's the time where you get a lot of leave or whatever. You pick the suitable race, or let's say you're traveling abroad and then you look up what other events you have there, and then you try to kill two birds with one stone by just going there, maybe go for holiday, take part in the event, and then explore the country and then come back. So the choice is yours, right? How we engage is, okay, you come and tell me, okay, I want to do this race. This is when it is. How are we going to go ahead with it? Then we will put down a plan. Let's say 6-month plan or 1-year plan or whatever, and then we work towards it, right? So we don't necessarily we don't have to engage with the event organizer. We communicate with the athlete, and then we tell them, okay, these are the things that you should do, these are the things that you need to pay attention to, and that's how we progress. Yeah.
So how can you describe the results generated by the athletes who have taken part via the training of Endurance Labs?
So what we do is, in terms of results, we constantly test them. Okay, so we have this test that we do with one of the hospitals, a sports doctor. What he does is he identifies our performance. So what we do is every year we do this test to see what your progress is from the previous year to this year. So it's called a CPET test, right? And then at our facility, at the studio, we do this thing called a FTP test. So to understand whether they have progress from when you're doing your bike segment. So we see if you have progress from the previous training sessions to now. And then we try to understand, okay, your progress is there, but not significant enough. Okay, how do we change the training plan to increase your progress? Or okay, maybe you have a dip in your progress, what's going on. Then we try to figure out whether it's the training, or whether you're getting enough rest and recovery, or whether it's your food, or whether you're stressed out at work, at home. So we try to understand what's going on, and based on those things we identify, okay, the results are good or bad. Yeah.
Right. So these analysts who analyze these data, you have to get in specialists in order to cater to the specific requirements. So how did you gather your team?
So I work with Dr. Chaturanga very closely. He's based in at the King's Hospital. So what we do is, he's highly qualified. He and I, we sit with the client, and we go through these data just to identify what we should do and what we shouldn't do. He gives me a very detailed report as to where the athlete is at currently and was before, in case that it's the second or third time the athlete has done the test. So we compare data, right? But if it's at the lab, if it's at my facility, I'm the one who goes through all this data, and then with previous experience, we compare the data and see whether we are progressing or not.
Right. Okay. Something interesting that you told me was prior to the program also, while we were discussing, was that recently you went for a triathlon and you were able to be a guide for a person who was differently abled, and that athlete was completely blind. So that was interesting to me. I think our audience also, viewers, need to know about this story. So tell me, how were you able to cater your specific services or training to this person?
So yeah, his name is Khalid Washman. He has been with us for almost 4 years, if I'm not mistaken, and we have come a long way. He was not blind before, and then he had a medical malpractice, and then he went blind about 10 years ago, and then he started doing sports and wanted to inspire everyone around him to be able to take part in these events. So because we try to get everyone to take part and make it inclusive for everyone, we actually took him on board, and then we were coaching him, and we wanted to showcase to the rest of the world what we are capable of doing as humans. But this guy has inspired a lot of people to take part, because it's not just running and cycling, but he also swims in the open ocean, not knowing how deep the water is, or where the waves are coming from, or which side the land is even. So it's amazing how much drive he has to make sure to finish all this. It's not just 100 meters. We are talking about close to 2 kilometers of swimming in the open water.
That's right. So you being a guide, what was your role? How did you make that happen when swimming or cycling or running?
So swimming, we tried out a new thing this time. We had a cord attached to just below our knee, between our knee and our calf muscle. We had a cord which was attached to each other, which kind of gave us the. I didn't have to tap him and tell him, okay, we have to turn left or right. So he would understand, okay, if I'm angling myself, he would understand, okay, I'm turning to the left or turning to the right, and then he would adjust himself accordingly. So that was this is the first time we tried this. Before that, we were trying various other techniques, which was slowing us down a lot more. So this was the fastest technique that we kind of got used to. And then when it comes to cycling, we were using a bicycle, which is a two-seater. It's called a tandem bike. So I sit in front and he's in the back. So both of us have to give the same effort in order to get the bike to move. Because if he doesn't pedal and if I'm the only one who's pedaling, it's tough for me, because I have to carry his weight plus the bike and me. But if it's only him who's cycling and I'm not pedaling, he has to do the same thing. So we had to
balance it out.
Yeah, balance it out, and we had to make sure that we get the bike rolling, and then.
But technical question: isn't the power generated by two people much more than a single person cycling?
It is if you add it up.
Yeah.
But what you don't realize is he's also a person. Like there are two people that both of us have to move forward. The bicycle alone is very heavy. So just to give you an idea, average the weight of a bike that goes for one of these races is about under 10 kilos, right? It's about 8-9 kilos. This bike is about 25. It's huge, it's big and very heavy. So it's the power that you generate is you have to generate a lot more to move forward than a normal person on a single bike. So
right.
The person on a single bike is the massive advantage.
That's very interesting to know and very important as well for people to understand. There are no limitations. You can, if you have the will, you can always do it. If there's a will, there's a way, they say.
That's true.
Yeah. So when talking about Endurance Labs again, and you being a co-founder, what was your passion to start about this? What do you enjoy about this job?
So, like I told you before, me and my business partner, we were athletes before I became a coach. So this sport has done a lot for me. It has given me a sense of direction, a sense of happiness, and it also gave me a purpose. Before this, I was into marketing and I was into IT, and I knew that a desk job is not the thing for me. And I was not in the best mind space back then. So the sport kind of took me out and gave me a lot more happiness. So I was like, you know what, okay, this is what I want to do, and I think it's the perfect time to do it. I can enjoy what I do. And how often can someone say that you are following your passion and doing what you love to do?
That's right. So when talking about the fitness industry and the endurance available in general in our country, how can you describe the talent or potential we have as a nation in sports?
It's a very sensitive topic because we as a nation, at the moment we have a lot more other problems that we have to focus on than before we focus on sport. But Sri Lanka has some of the most talented athletes out there. We are yet to tap into that segment. At least, even if we are not world-class athletes in the region, we should be at a very high level. It's just that we have kind of neglected the infrastructure that we have created for them to come and showcase their talents. And the sad part is we have not even had a selection for triathlons for the last 3 years rather, right? To take part and represent the country in an international platform. That's how sad it is. But we haven't lost faith. I'm trying my level best to push and get people to take part in at least take part in events that are not where you are not representing the country but you're representing yourself. And then slowly, when the sport booms, we can actually go to the sports ministry and ask them, you know what, give these kids the chance to take part in the Asian Games, right, or South Asian Games or whatever. Yeah.
We just have to look for the right platform,
That's
I guess.
Right.
And thank you, Mithun, for sharing these ideas. We've come to the end of our program as well, and wish you all the very best with the future triathlons as well.
Thank you.
And thank you for giving the opportunity for the differently able people as well to do this sport. And wish you all the best.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
And that was our episode on Business Best. We'll be back again next week with another product or service that would interest you. In case you couldn't watch us on air, you can always rewatch by catching us on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Derana English. I'm Suzanne Shanali. Stay safe and have a good night.